Hey, what's up everyone? It's Justin here and welcome to the review of the Apple Watch, the first smartwatch I have ever reviewed. So this is Apple's most personal device yet and is their first new one in about 5 years. And being someone who hasn't really embraced wearables and watches as a whole, the Apple Watch wasn't really something that interested me, but I definitely wanted to check it out anyways. But after having a chance to use it for about 2 weeks now, I have to say Apple has done a very good job for a first generation device, and I've definitely enjoyed many of the features offered on the watch. So that being said, let's start out by talking about the hardware. So the model I went with was the Apple Watch Sport. I personally wasn't willing to invest too much into the Apple Watch just yet, being a first generation device, so I opted for the 42mm aluminum model with the Sport band. As you know, you do have the option to pick the 38mm model as well, and the price of the Apple Watch ranges anywhere from $350 to $17,000. But right off the bat, one of the trade-offs you will experience from purchasing the Sport model instead of the standard Apple Watch or the Edition is that you get an Ion X glass, which has shown to be not nearly as durable as the sapphire crystal you will find. The 38mm Apple Watch features a 1.32-inch display with a 272 by 340 resolution at 290 ppi, while the 42mm model features a 1.5-inch display with a 312 by 390 resolution with a ppi of 302. So you do have a beautiful Retina display, and I have to say it is probably the best display I have seen on any smartwatch yet. The colors are very vivid, and it is great that Apple has achieved a near or even over 300 ppi rating on even such a small display that is worn on your wrist. On the inside of the watch, it is powered by the Apple S1 processor and features a force touch sensor, accelerometer, gyroscope, heart rate sensor, and barometer. It has also got NFC for Apple Pay support, Bluetooth 4.0, and Wi-Fi 802.11n, as well as a 205 mAh battery. Moving on with the Apple Watch's design, a great thing is that you're able to very easily swap out the bands without any tools, and being Apple, you may know that many third-party manufacturers will be making bands for it. But let's go ahead and take a look at what Apple has to offer and how much they charge for each model, as well as the color options you can choose from. So starting out with the Apple Watch Sport, that will set you back at $349 for the 38mm model, and 42mm model will cost $399. You obviously have the choice to pick between the bands, but the models are available in silver aluminum as well as space gray, which looks great. The most popular model will probably be the Apple Watch Standard Edition, and that will range anywhere from $549 to $1099, and you have the option between different leather clasp, band, Milanese loops, stainless steel bracelets, in a silver stainless steel enclosure, or in the more expensive models in the stainless black enclosure, which looks great. And of course, for the 1% out there, you can choose from the Apple Watch Edition. Taking a look at the bands that Apple has to offer, I have to say they do charge quite a bit. $49 for the Sport Band, $149 for the leather loop, $249 for the modern buckle, and so on. But like I did mention, third-party manufacturers will be all over making straps for the Apple Watch, and I can't wait to see what options I will have in just a few months. The Apple Watch felt very nicely on the wrist, however I do wish that they did offer a larger model. Having pretty small wrists, you can see that the 42mm model does actually look pretty small surprisingly. And initially I completely thought I would be a 38mm user, but I decided to go with the 42mm model for video's sake, and I am glad I did so. Talking more about the design though, although I don't mind the look of the Apple Watch, it is definitely a very first generation-esque design. And you may have seen a lot of people out there comparing it to the first generation iPhone. The edges are nicely curved off and everything is very refined, as we know from Apple. But I know a lot of people out there who just weren't sold on the design and have decided to wait for the second generation to come out from Apple, which we expect to come in either 1 or 2 years. Really not sure about that. To be honest though, really the only thing I'm wishing for right now is an edge-to-edge display in the next iteration. I don't think a round display will be in the picture, as apps just won't be able to work the same. Of course, on the side of the watch you will find the 2 buttons, including the digital crown that Apple talked a lot about, as well as the sleep-wake button that I'm sure we're very familiar with. On the back of the Apple Watch, you will find the contact piece that touches the skin and is able to measure your heart rate and gather information like that, and of course pass through the signals of the haptic sensor. And I have to say that the tap notifications feel great on the wrist, and from what I saw and what I've tested, this watch is extremely accurate in its measurements. Moving on to the software, I was surprised by how smooth the experience with, and everything just seemed to flow very nicely. The way that the interface was executed to enable you to take the most advantage of the applications compatible on your wrist was quite surprising for a first generation device. And the fact that there weren't any noticeable stutters in the interface itself was great as well. Of course, the third-party apps in early stages did take quite a while to load, but with updates coming in the future, I can only see this watch getting better from here in terms of the software front. With Force Touch implemented, you can also do things such as change the watch faces and also have some options within your mail menu and different applications. But the main source of navigation is through the digital crown, and I have to say this is a great idea by Apple. What they want to do is have you be able to navigate through the interface without blocking the screen. As you know, with such a small screen, your fingers will cover the whole thing while you're scrolling around. The digital crown, on the other hand, allows you to zoom in and out of things, access different applications, and also works as a home button as well. It is nice for sorting through your email and Twitter feed, and of course there is also some reminiscence in the software from the iPhone. From sliding up in the bottom, you do have your control center as well as your glances, which you can edit from the main application. Glances are just some notifications and quick toggle settings you're able to access from anywhere very easily, and of course there is also a Find My Phone function built right in. Sliding down from the top will take you to your notification tab. From the Apple Watch, you can also edit some general settings such as the time, do not disturb, general settings, as well as the brightness. But I have to say, from my experience, everything functioned very smoothly, and I definitely expected the watch to have quite a few issues here and there, being a first generation device without any updates currently. And I think the watch has already shown a lot of potential into the future as more developers jump on and take advantage of the Apple Watch's hardware and infrastructure. One thing I also wanted to mention is that people will be using their Apple Watch for Apple Pay. However, I wasn't able to demonstrate that for you guys as I do live in Canada and I haven't really found anywhere that does have Apple Pay support. After all, a lot of people will be buying the Apple Watch for the fitness aspect of it, so I wanted to dedicate a little bit of time towards that as well. There's a lot of things that the watch can do. Of course, it can track your general activity and give you notifications of that and select different workouts as it tracks it, the stair stepper, the runner, and all that stuff. And as usual, you're able to set calorie goals for yourself based on your age, weight, and it will be able to compile different information and give you some things that you can refer to. There is also the activity tracker, which will notify you when you should get up and exercise for a bit, and that will be particularly handy for people like me who sit on their computer all day and edit videos for you guys. The visual aspect was great, and I can totally see why people would want to buy the Apple Watch to be able to use the fitness tracking and activity tracking settings in conjunction with their iPhone. Moving on, I would like to show you the Apple Watch app itself, which is called My Watch. It is built into the iPhone, and you can change things such as the app layout, of course, move things around here and there. But within the main menu, it gives you all of the general settings, whether it is the notifications, the glances that you change around, the brightness, sound, and a lot of these things you can also change from your watch itself. Of course, you can also block notifications from certain applications and also set important information such as which hand your watch is on and also the side that your digital crown is on in order to get the best accuracy out of the watch. As you scroll down, there's Apple's built-in apps in one section, and even further below that is all of your third-party apps that currently have support for the Apple Watch, and I can definitely imagine there being more in the future. Of course, you also have the option to disable them as well. But if you haven't realized by now, the Apple Watch is very reliant on your phone. It pretty much grabs all of the information from your phone and mirrors it over to the watch. But the great thing is that you also have the option to use some of the third-party apps from your watch, which in my opinion is why I would find the Apple Watch useful, as I wouldn't be someone who would buy it just to access notifications on my wrist. Moving over to the Explore tab, Apple has a ton of videos showing you how to get to know your Apple Watch as well as how it has been made. So it's great that they have included a ton of tutorials over there that you can very quickly and easily access. The next two tabs on the right side is pretty much the App Store. It gives you all of the apps that are currently compatible with the Apple Watch, and by downloading them here, it would download the main iPhone app onto your device. Considering how new this device is, it is pretty awesome that a ton of developers have already made apps compatible with the Apple Watch as well as some dedicated ones. As no matter how good the hardware is, the things that you're able to do on it through software will always dictate whether you are going to buy the product or not. And although I will say a lot of them are half-baked and take a long time to load and some of them just completely glitch out, I'm sure future updates will just make it better. So that has just been a look at the My Watch app. And of course the battery life, something that a lot of people have had a lot of questions about. I have to say the battery life was great, and of course the Apple Watch does charge with a magnetic MagSafe-esque charger. I was actually easily able to breeze through a full day, and my Apple Watch lasted longer than my iPhone did, so I guess the battery life is pretty good. Or the iPhone one just sucks. But other than that, this wraps it up for my full review of the Apple Watch, and the big question is whether or not you should buy one. If it takes you a while to decide, the answer is probably going to be no, you simply don't need it. For someone like me, although I enjoyed the Apple Watch, I'd much rather just take out my phone and do whatever I normally do. But for others who want one but are sort of on the fence, I would say if you can wait for the next generation, you definitely should. That being said, the Apple Watch is a great product, and I think Apple has done a very good job considering it is a first generation device. And although there are quite a few doubters out there, it would be very interesting to see the future of this device and where it would go, and whether smartwatches will become a conventional thing in our everyday lives over the next few years. But other than that, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, be sure to hit that like button as it helps the channel out a bunch, and I'll see you all in the next video.